All right, we're back for another episode of More Than Just a Recruiter. Super excited, special guest here, Coach Anthony Grant, Coach of the Year. He took Dayton to heights that nobody other than his staff would have believed that they would have done this year. And if the season would have finished, I think we'd be talking about an Elite Eight Final Four appearance. But what we can talk about is his experience, his journey, and how he's gotten from point A to where he's at now and kind of beyond, what those next steps look like and, how he's going to dial in to continue to build the powerhouse that is Dayton. So without further ado, Coach Grant, how you doing today?
I'm great, Justin, man. Good to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
Hey man, I appreciate you. I know how busy it is and how busy times are right now for everybody between Zoom meetings and phone calls and evaluations and team meetings. So I appreciate you taking time out of your day to sit down and chat with me a bit. Excited to talk about your journey. I think that without a doubt it can help some young coaches, some guys that are breaking into the industry and trying to find their way, whether they be at the college level, whether they be looking at GA positions or even at the high school level. So I think it's important for, I tell guys all the time when we're talking, I tell players, you got to begin with the end in mind. And I think it's the same way for coaches. You have to begin with, hey, this is where I eventually want to get to. What are the steps that it takes to get there? So excited to chat a little bit about your journey.
Yeah.
When,
Yeah. I mean, you bring up some good points. I think we all have a different path. We all have a different story. And I think as I listen to you talk, this is great that you get a chance to send a message to the next generation of coaches and administrators, whoever it may be, that want to get in the business. I think the thing that I would say, to me, my journey is really about relationships, man. And when I look back on, I started coaching when I was 21 years old. I played my last game of college basketball at the age of 20. And I really had no thought when I finished college that I wanted to enter coaching. Like most guys that play, I wanted to continue to play. And I had a friend of mine in Miami, Florida, where I'm from, that kind of put the bug in my ear. Just called me up out of the blue and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about coaching?" He was a high school coach and wanted me to come and be his assistant coach and coach his JV team. And I didn't have any experience. I didn't go to school with the thought of teaching or coaching. So I said, "Listen, I don't know how to go about doing that." He said, "Listen, just come down and talk to my principal, and we'll be able to find something for you in the building." So I did that. Long story short, I ended up not taking that position, but took a position at my old high school, and ended up being a math teacher and an assistant varsity coach. Now, I just happened to be at a school that was a powerhouse in basketball, and we ended up winning 3 straight state championships, ranked top 5 in the country for like 5 years in a row. We had a really good team, and that was really my introduction to coaching. And I looked at it as an opportunity. Where I'm from, Miami, Florida. And I looked at it as an opportunity to open some doors for some kids from our neighborhood that otherwise may not have had a whole lot of options. And my experience in college was one that I felt like, hey, if these kids get a chance to go and see a different path, that maybe the path that was offered in their neighborhoods, that it may be able to open up some more opportunities for them. So I said, hey, let me be a part of this, and that's really how I got into it, and kept me close to the game. And you learn how to interact and teach and help kids become the best version of themselves. And at 26, I got a chance to become a head coach. I was content, with where we were. Like I said, we were doing a lot of winning. I was with some great people. My best friends, Frank Martin, who's now the coach at South Carolina. He and I went to school together, and we were on staff together. And I was working for my old high school coach, Shaky Rodriguez, and I was content. And I had an assistant principal at the school, just out of the blue, asked me one day, "Where do you want to be in 5 years?" And it kind of put me on my heels. And I thought about it, so I was like, okay, yeah, what do I want to be doing? I was probably 25 at the time. What do I want to be doing when I'm 35? I had to take a step back and think about it. And he had some thoughts in terms of maybe getting into administration, becoming a principal one day, or pursuing becoming a head coach. And so he kind of lit a spark and an interest in me. So a year later, I became a head coach at the age of 26 at another local high school there, and was in the process of trying to build a team that could compete with the team that I was leaving. Wanting to play for championships. And, you learn the business, and you begin to understand, that what's required, in terms of trying to build something and trying to be successful. Well, a year after that, I was there for a year, and the guy that recruited me to the University of Dayton ended up getting the head coaching job at Stetson. And he called me up and said, "Hey, what do you think about coming and coaching in college?" And again, so I had a decision to make. Was I going to stay and try to build a high school program, or take advantage of an opportunity of something that may have been in the back of my mind, maybe down the road one day to pursue that, but it wasn't really in the forefront. And so I had to give that some thought, and I decided that I was going to go for it, and ended up taking a pay cut and went with him to Stetson. Ended up being there for a year, Justin, and you never know how things are going to go, and ended up where Billy Donovan got the head coaching job at Marshall. Now here's the connection. When I was at Miami Senior as an assistant, we had a couple of guys that were talented enough to play at the University of Kentucky: Jamel Martinez and Alan Edwards. And the year that I left to go become the coach at Miami Central High School, Coach Donovan came in and he recruited Alan Edwards. Through the recruitment of Alan, heard about me, and people were telling him of the relationships that I had with those kids there, and maybe suggested that I'd be a good guy for him to connect with about Alan. We never connected about Alan, but I think he remembers. So when he got the job at Marshall, I think people maybe gave my name to him, and he remembered from the time when he recruited Alan. So that kind of put us together, and obviously spent 12 years with him before becoming a head coach. So that's a little bit of my story, my background. But I think when I try to tie it all together, I can't but be grateful for the relationships that I was able to develop, from the time I was a player all the way through to where I am today.
Yeah, and I think, and that's actually something I wrote down as I was listening to you. The power of relationships, right? And you mentioned Frank Martin, Billy Donovan. You mentioned, your high school coach. For guys that are getting started in the business, how important would you say, establishing genuine relationships? Not one-sided relationships. Hey, can you do something for me? And like you said with Billy Donovan, it wasn't a situation. Some people told him to check in on a player, check in with you about a player, and that never really happened. So, but just through your hard work and developing and building those relationships, eventually you guys came back around and circled back around. So, how important would you say building those relationships is for a young coach entering into the business?
That's what life is. It's about relationships. And when I was young, and again, I'm dating myself, man. I'm in my 50s now, but I was of the belief that if you can get anything that you're willing to work for in life, as long as you're willing to help other people be successful, and that's just kind of the model that I've always tried to take and try to impact wherever I am and whoever I have a chance to be around. Try to help them be successful, and I think that's really what it's all about. At the end of the day, and and then opportunities present themselves, and I think sometimes too we get so caught up sometimes in what we want out of something, and we try to put timetables on when I want this to happen, and if it doesn't happen in that timetable, then you feel like, okay, well, what am I doing wrong, or what's not going well for me in a situation, and I think the thing I would say is, whatever it is that you do, obviously you want to have the motivation and the work ethic to continue to rise and achieve. But I think you put everything into where you are and what you're currently doing, and try to make that the best it can be, and try to excel at that. And I think that in itself, uh, I think attracts opportunities for you when you can be great. I tell young coaches all the time, if you're hired on as a GA or as a volunteer, you know, do so well in that your work ethic and and your loyalty and your commitment and your expertise stand out, and that'll create maybe another opportunity for you. Like I said, when I was a high school coach, going to college, I took a pay cut, because I looked at it as an opportunity. And I felt like that's all I ever wanted was an opportunity. And I had enough belief in myself that I was going to work hard enough to be successful. And I was willing to bet on myself, in terms of maybe taking a chance or taking the long road, so to speak, to make some things happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things that stands out to me about your journey, you've been at the highest level, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but the fact that you started at your alma mater, your high school alma mater, that's where your coaching career started at, and you started with the idea of, hey, we've got a pretty special program here, and I want to continue to build this and build this to the level of a national powerhouse. And now here you are at your college alma mater, doing the same thing, saying, hey, there's something that was moving here. I had a great experience here. I'm going to come back and give back to that university that provided me with a great experience. Is that just something that, intrinsically is inside of you, that you want to, be a part for that next generation that travels the steps that you had? Or what's brought you back to your alma maters?
Yeah, I've been fortunate, to be honest with you. Like I said, coming out of college, I never intended, to be in coaching. I would not have been able to. I wouldn't be honest if I sat here and tell you, yeah, that was my goal, to go back to my alma mater. But when the opportunity presented itself, it was an easy decision, just in terms of, as you mentioned, having a chance to make a difference at a place that means so much to you. So I'm very fortunate I had a chance to do that at my high school alma mater, and then now I got a chance to do it at the University of Dayton at my college alma mater. So when this opportunity came up, I was coaching in the NBA. I was assistant at the Oklahoma City Thunder, and really did not look at, when I heard that Coach Miller had left and gone to Indiana, never thought that I would be a candidate, being honest with you. And so when that situation presented itself to me, I looked at it as an unbelievable opportunity because of my experience as a student athlete here, and knowing what this place was all about, knowing what it meant to me. And then, as you mentioned, feeling like, okay, can I come and make a difference? Can I come and help this program, continue to have success, and maybe even raise the bar, in terms of the expectations and what we're able to do. So yeah, it's an honor for me to I feel very fortunate to say I've had a chance to coach both my alma maters and be a part of helping them be successful.
Yeah, that's not something many people can say, and then not something many people can accomplish at the level that you've done it. And I've had the opportunity to be at a couple of your practices and games and see what goes into that success. A lot of people see the end result and they say, okay, hey, you guys are winning. You guys you're a household name now. But seeing for example, I tell anybody that'll listen about Joe Garrity, right? And being in a practice and seeing your managers sprint up and down the floor at full speed, and do the little things, right? The little things that it takes to be, and those aren't. It's not one of those situations. I've been in some situations where those things happen out of fear, right? Where guys they're going to do everything at full speed because they're afraid that the head coach might scream at them. And the difference that I see is when I'm watching a Dayton practice, those guys are doing it out of passion and out of love because they believe in what's being built there, and they're just so excited and happy to be a part of it. And just listening to some of those guys talk about where the trajectory that you guys are headed on, leads me to ask the question, how important is it for you building a culture within a program, whether it be high school, whether it be college, whether it be NBA? How important is it to build that foundation culturally, when you first get started within that program?
Yeah, I think it's critical, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say I think that's a part of what Dayton basketball is. What you saw with Joe Garrity, man, that's what I experienced as a player at Dayton, and I think everybody from generation, no matter who the coach has been, whether it's been a championship caliber team, I think there's always been an unbelievable pride in Dayton basketball, whether it be on campus or in the community. Such a big part of the community here, and uh, what everybody follows. And obviously you've been to a game and you've seen the atmosphere. Like a guy like Joe Garrity grew up on Dayton basketball. So it's something that's ingrained in him, and he's honored to have a chance to be a part of it. But certainly for myself and our staff, trying to get our guys to understand the attitudes and the behaviors that we want to try to establish in terms of the way we play the game, the way we practice, the way we go about living up to the standards that we try to set as students, as athletes, as human beings, and the way we treat other people. That's certainly a big part of what we try to make sure that we emphasize when we add pieces to our team, and as we go through the process of preparing our team to do what we do.
Absolutely, absolutely. How important would you say, as you're taking on the journey of putting together and really being the face of a program and building a program, how important would you say it is building a team and having the right team around you? And the reason why I bring that up, I look at Coach Jones, right? I look at just kind of the coaching tree that is coming from you, as well as the coaching tree that you came from, and the relationships that that happen there. And I look at successful programs versus unsuccessful programs. And one of the things that stands out to me about Dayton basketball, between Coach Solomon, Coach Greer, just the guys that are around, how important is it to have the right pieces to the puzzle around versus, going in and I know you've seen it, going in from a standpoint of, okay, I have to wear all the hats and do everything. How important is it to have guys you trust that can do a great job alongside of you?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's the most important piece. And probably when I took the job, that's probably where most of my time was spent, outside of getting to know my players and taking care of what we needed to from a recruiting standpoint, was putting a staff together and getting guys that, as you mentioned, there was a level of trust that you could feel, in terms of the relationships and who they are as people, not just as coaches. And then trying to put a group together that complemented each other. It's not just getting the right guys on the bus, but being able to put them in the right seats where they can support each other's strengths and make up for the weaknesses. We all have things that we're really good at, and some things that maybe we need a little help with. So just trying to put together a group that had a passion for what we did, that had a passion for working with young people and teaching and coaching and grow, and had the experience that we needed, and filled those gaps, so to speak, that we all needed to fill in order to help each other achieve the ultimate goal. And I've been blessed, man. I got a great staff, just great group of young guys to coach, and coaches to mentor them, and staff that supports and uplifts everything that we do. So yeah, we're really fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it's evident when you look at, from top to bottom, when you look at staff, when you look at players, you look at managers, you look at GAs, you look at walk-ons, everybody's bought in, everybody's invested into, what you've developed and what you guys have going on in that Dayton culture. One of the things that stands out to me is, and it's not often that you go through, a couple major occurrences in life, right? And Dayton basketball, or just the community of Dayton, you've experienced, now, really three major things underneath your watch, right? So the Dayton shooting a couple years back, now the pandemic, and now everything that we're experiencing in race relations within the United States. As a staff, how do you adjust through those things? Understand what it is going on around you, so make sure that your fingers on the pulse of that, and make sure that your guys understand that you can communicate and talk through that, but also being able to move through that and say, okay, hey, these things aren't going to tear us apart. They're going to bring us together stronger, and we're going to be better for it.
Yeah. So to me, the big picture is really simple. We're a part of the community. So as our community experiences these things, we're a part of the community. And I think sometimes, as athletes or as coaches, we can get lost in our own world, and then all you got to do is just look up and you see, last May, our city went through the tornado, that wrecked homes and businesses and changed people's lives, and you felt that in terms of people being displaced and having to build everything that they once had from the ground up. And then, as you mentioned, last August, it'll be a year ago this August, that we had a shooting in downtown Dayton that took the lives of a lot of people and changed people's lives forever. And so we looked at those tragedies as we are part of this community, in terms of trying to help that healing process. So knowing what Dayton basketball means to this community, I think that the way we looked at it was an opportunity to help through that healing process, just by being able to do what we love to do. And maybe for 2 hours on a random Wednesday or Saturday, people can maybe forget about some of those situations that happened, or maybe some personal things that they may be going through, and just enjoy cheering for their favorite team and trying to cheer them on to victory. And so I understand that, and I think our team understood that, and it's no different now with what we're going through with this pandemic that's hit our country and the world, and then also some of the things that we've seen over the last couple of months that were kind of ignited with George Floyd's murder and what happened with Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. I think it sparked a nation to action, and I think it certainly galvanized a lot of people to say, hey, I want to make a difference, and I want to see change come to my community, to my state, to my nation, and change in a positive way. So as we've said before, I look at it as an opportunity to help educate our guys, and to really be honest with you, educate myself and everybody around me in terms of how can we impact change and try to make a difference.
Awesome. And I think that you hit the nail right on the head with education, because I think that that's the difference maker in not repeating the situations that we go through. And I think that one of the things that I look at, because I'm always a glass half full type guy, and I try and find the silver lining in everything that happens. One thing I could say for sure, seeing, you specifically spoke about some of the racial injustices that happen in our communities and happen in the world. You're seeing a whole lot more conversation about that, and a whole lot more research and education than ever before. I mean, we're not talking about anything new. This has been going on in this country forever, but I think that now more than ever, those things are there's a microscope shed on them, right? There's conversations and communication, and those conversations are embraced. So it's great to hear that you're using these as teachable moments for these young men, a lot of which are young black men that are underneath your watch and care. And now these are teachable moments to educate them on not only what they're facing, but how to utilize their voice in the right way, right? And how to navigate through their lives as young black men. So that's awesome to hear. Let's talk a little bit about navigating through your journey as a black coach, as an assistant coach at many different levels, and now a head coach. How important was it for you to have a mentor, or how important was mentorship in that journey? And who was really the foundational piece that you leaned on as you went through it?
Yeah, my journey was really I think organic, to be honest with you, man. I had two very strong parents. My mom and dad were really my first mentors, and they emphasized uh, education. They emphasized faith, and making sure that you know myself and our siblings were were respectful, that we were appreciative of opportunities that we got. And so once I got into sports, into to basketball, my high school coach, I was 14 years old, when I met him, and I didn't start playing basketball till I was like 12. So, it was, once I picked it up, it became a passion, as what I did today. And so I had a high school coach that uh, his passion for the game, his ability to teach the game, but just the way he taught us to work, to believe in ourselves, and the things that I learned from him, were really instrumental, uh, really for the rest of my life. And then I coming to college here, I played for a Hall of Fame coach and Don Donaher, and just seeing what he was able to build and the way this community supported basketball. Coming from Miami, Florida, when I was in high school, University of Miami basketball, there was no Miami Heat basketball. We had the Dolphins and we had the Hurricanes, Miami football. So to me, coming to a place that had a passion for basketball, that was brand new to me. And so I fell in love with it, and so just having a chance to be a part of this program for 4 years, I felt like I was really blessed. I went back, as we said earlier, and I worked at Miami Senior for my old high school coach. So not only did I get a chance to play for him, but I had a chance to learn underneath him. And I would say, I'm biased, but I would say probably uh, one of the best high school coaches ever to do it. And I think his record would speak to that, and the number of players that he sent to college. I want to say is probably probably in the 70s, 70, 80, maybe 100 kids that he either got majority Division 1, but some Division 2. The he made on kids in the area, I think, is second to none. So those are really the guys that were mentors to me as a young kid, in terms of the values and the work ethic, and just the formative years. And then basically, I spent 2 years, Coach Donna, you know, uh, two at Marshall and 10 at the University of Florida. Being a part of building those programs, and seeing the first year at Marshall taking a team that went 9-18, uh, and the year after our first year going 18-9 and winning our conference, and then Florida up to when we got there in '96, and the struggles of trying to put a group together that could win, to my last year in '06, winning a national championship, and being a part of that process all the way through. It impacts you and you learn a lot. So I'd say I've just been fortunate, man, that I've had some really, really good people, man. Some of the best to ever do it, that I had a chance to watch and learn from. And then, so many people that you meet along the way, Justin. It's just, we'd be here all day if I, tried to tell you. There's conversations that you have with people, that maybe they don't even know how much their words impact you, and just giving you 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or just saying, hey, you know, I notice you, the way you go about doing what you do, and you know, keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be successful. And I've had situations like that. So even if it's just, a 2-minute conversation, or years of of pouring into someone, it makes a difference, man. So that would be, for me, having been, I started coaching when I was 21, and I'm 54 now. I think the older you get, the more you can kind of realize, okay, this is really truly what this is about. It's about helping other people, and building those relationships, and trying to make a difference, where you can.
For sure, for sure. So, and 3 decades of coaching, and starting at that high school level, seeing the NBA level, now as a head coach at the Atlantic 10 level. What would you say, if you, and obviously there's a million different pointers and tips you could give somebody, but if you were to say one piece of advice that you could give to a young man or a young woman starting their journey in their first coaching job, what's that one thing that you'd say to them that you think would be instrumental in their journey?
Mm. Well, I would say, first of all, set goals. Set goals in terms of, like you said at the beginning. I thought that's the saying of mine. Begin with the end in mind, right? What goals do you want to achieve, right? And then go about finding ways to take control and manage your time, right? And make use of the time that you have, and try to be intentional with your time in terms of things that you allow yourself to be involved with, in terms of you know investing in your craft, and also investing in other people.
Absolutely, absolutely. I heard that advice, and it instantly rung bells in my head. Just from really managing your time, and I think that that's something that in my career, my journey, has been the biggest difference maker, is understanding, all right, not only how to manage my time, but like you said, the value of your time and what you lend your time and energy towards. So, I think that like I said, this interview here for me was about being able to motivate and educate some young coaches, and I appreciate you utilizing some of your time to do that. That shows right there, your selflessness and your willingness to give of yourself, and to help others where you can. So without a doubt, I'm appreciative of the opportunity to speak to you here today, and I know that it'll reach somebody, right? There'll be somebody somewhere that'll see this and get motivated and say, okay, well, I can do it, right? Like, I may be a JV coach today, but that doesn't mean that my goals of coaching in the NBA or my goals of being a Division I head coach are too lofty. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you shedding light on your journey. If there's anything that you want to end with, or anything that you have for us, just feel free to shoot it at me.
Yeah, well, Justin, I'll end with this, man. I appreciate you, and you and I, really got to know each other within the last year, and I can't tell you how impressed I've been just getting to know you and your passion for young people, and really the way you do what you do. And I want to thank you. You don't know this, but you motivated me. The first time we talked, I was in your office recruiting a young man, and you brought up a book, The Coffee Bean. And I remember you talking about that, and I went back and I said, let me read this book. Let me see what it's about. And I've used that with our team, and it's really powerful, the message behind it. So I just want to encourage you to continue to do what you do, continue to do it for the reasons that you do it, man. And I'm excited to see, what the future holds for you as you begin to embark on the endeavors that you're taking upon, man. I'm excited for you, and I want to thank you for being who you are, man. You're a genuine dude. Appreciate you.
I appreciate that more than you know, Coach. All right. Well, I know you've got a call to hop on, and like I said, I appreciate the time, and go Flyers.
All right, bud. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks.
See you.